Good evening, everyone. So I think we heard about the political landscape and how politics will play a pivotal role in this industry. Tourism is about experiences. We from younger age, we have had our own experiences. It's the vivid images that we carry with us. So what we really need is someone to come and travel and experience and go back, tell their friends to come here again. So as Sri Lanka, we might not know still how many repeat tourists that we do have. That's a real good indicator. So that the location becomes their home. They sometimes come back again and again. So as we speak, 1.4 billion tourists go around the world and gather these experiences. When it comes to locations, some people might say this location should not be used for tourism because it will get exploited. Some people say, let's use this location so that people can explore and enjoy. But the reality is, the commonality is, both these parties love the location. One party loves the location because they want to preserve it. The other party loves the location and they want to share it. So what we need to bring now is that fine balance between how do we utilize these locations and build our economy. It's not only about the dollars, but it's also about sustainable tourism where the value can move into the society, the location, the environment, and the society as a whole. So as we speak, National People's Power always stands for inclusivity. Economic growth does not only talk about economic development. Economic development is the distribution of the wealth that we create. So this tourism economy is what we believe can touch so many lives and also help us to create a sustainable economic growth coming out of this situation that we are in. We are in a crisis. We might be fallen in a country that is at the worst economic crisis, but many countries and nations have developed from where they were to where they are today with the collaborative effort. So National People's Power stands for that. So today, over the last few years, we have been trying to build our economic policies. That's something that we as a National People's Power believe a policy-driven country. So today what we are presenting to you is a framework that we thought what should be the key areas that we should be focusing in terms of developing this policy. But it's just a framework to get the debate started. We have all the experience gathered here and also who are watching us after today. We would like you to give your experiences, the inputs, the ideas, and help us create a national tourism strategy. A national tourism strategy is what we need, and that it should lead to a national policy. So in order to ensure that these policies are implemented, currently also we do have different policies and strategies, but the way of execution, we think it has to be layered. As a country, we should have a master plan, and then it should be executed in a provincial manner as well as location-based execution plans need to be executed. So there is a difference between having a policy and having a strategy and really getting that strategy down into action. This is a number that we think. What would you think? Can I see show of your hands? Within 5 years, by 2030, is this attainable? Yes? Few hands. So others think that this is tough. Is that what we are saying? Or are we inspiring to go here? So as National People's Power, we think there's potential. So we want to set a direction, an action plan that can be a practical action plan to reach this. So when it comes to real numbers, 2018 probably would have been the best year for tourism industry. $4.4 billion, 2.3 million arrivals with 380,000 identified employment. We really know that tourism also helps a lot of people and distributes income even they are not employed. And we had average day spend of about $174. But what we really want to become is a higher spend and also organic growth in terms of tourism. And we think we can achieve about 3.5 million with a collective collaborative effort where the industry and the government will play a pivotal role to achieve that target. And that we need to bring different segments, different ideas and different products that can help us to achieve $243 per spend per day. Before we create any strategy, we need to understand why this potential was not being able to achieve even the industry was 5 decades old. We have been talking about tourism many years, and this is the same case for the IT industry and for the apparel industry. We have talked about our potential, but we never reached our full potential. The lack of a clear leadership vision, a visionary leadership is required, a vision that is shared by everyone, not only about the industry, but every citizen of this country. If you ask a person and tell me about your priority industry, would you ask a child and would he say it's tourism is one of our priority industries? We shared a collective vision to get to certain aspired thing. We have not been able to do that. And then our institutions, which has been established to develop the economy or the tourism industry, has been fragmented and disconnected. And also our research and development has been very low, that we have not been basing our strategies on science and statistics, that we have not been able to create enough products that can position Sri Lanka as an authentic experience. And also our ability to target these authentic experiences to the real places where it should, and the customers where do they stand, we have not been able to do that. We have been doing most mass marketing, and we heard about it. We are trying to promote tourism, but we have not also been able to position Sri Lanka as well. Not being able to develop this industry as an inclusive industry, which it had the potential. We have been excluding people. We have been excluding females out of this industry. We have been excluding different districts. We have been excluding different industries which could have coexisted with tourism, where the other industries could have benefited from tourism, where the tourism could have benefited from the other industries. So we have lost the inclusivity as this was. So when we create the policy, we are talking about a 6-pillar framework. The one is about the policy implementation and the strategic direction. So we need to all be sharing a strategic direction and agree upon how we are going to implement this. A sustainable use of natural resources and the cultural resources we have. We are a small country. Our resources are very limited. It needs to be preserved for the future generation so that we can enhance and we can regenerate, or we can create more revenue or more income out of these resources, and whilst we sustain them. And the other piece is our workforce. What do we have installed for our workforce? Do we recognize this workforce in tourism industry as a priority workforce, and how do we develop and enhance them and ensure that they are secured at times of crisis? Innovative product development is another pillar that we need to be focused on. We need to use research, we need to know the sentiments of our tourists, and also use the authentic experiences we have and create these products so that we can position ourselves. The strategic destination marketing is going to be a key driver to enhance that value that we want to create. Not only about the number 3.5, we need to increase the spend also. So we need to identify the critical niche markets around the globe and then ensure that our marketing strategy takes a pivotal change. And also at last, it's about the infrastructure. The infrastructure and the ecosystem that will help tourism industry to flourish. It's really required. Tourism industry cannot sustain on its own. That is why a government needs to be playing a pivotal role, establishing the legal structures and the infrastructure that will support the industry. So when it comes to the vision, we have 4 words that can describe what National People's Power want to stand by. One is the priority industry. You heard from Anura Kumar Disanayaka, that's about this industry is going to be our priority, one of our priority industries. So every time there's a shock, every time there's an issue, we will ensure the government plays a pivotal role in protecting the industry. And the authenticity. We have enough things, enough and more things, and we have a culture, we have the location advantage, we have all the heritage and the environmental resources. Why do you try to recreate something Dubai is trying to do? Why do you want to recreate some Singapore is trying to do? We need to create an authentic identity. That needs to be part of our vision. That identity can be a location, or identity can be how you greet and treat. So again, it's about the sustainable growth. When you talk about sustainable growth, we need to ensure that the generation of wealth that generated in this industry get distributed sustainably to many places where it's due, and also our environment to be preserved and safeguarded for the future generations. And the other last piece is being able to create this industry as an inclusive industry, where the disabled people in this country can take part of it, where the females can take part of it, where the different areas of the districts, of the 24 districts, can be being part of it. It's possible. Even they don't have a location, we can create a location. If they don't have tourism already, we can ensure the tourists also be using in those locations. So this is the vision. And globally, it's understood the sustainable development goals is very much closely connected to tourism. Tourism is an industry that can touch all 17 sustainable development goals. And as developing nation, we are far away of achieving this. I don't know, maybe it's 100 years, 200 years if we go like this. There's no way to achieve the education standards. There's no direction that we will reach the sustainability or the environmental standards. So therefore, we believe if we put a plan according to sustainable development goals and aligned it with the development goals of our tourism strategy, we can ensure that Sri Lanka achieves these goals faster than it should. The centralized policy and decentralized implementation. Currently, we do have a structure. The yellow color ones are the structural institutions that we have under Ministry of Tourism. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, Sri Lanka Tourism Promotions, Sri Lanka Institute of Tourism and Hotel Management, and Sri Lanka Conventions Bureau. These are 4 institutes that are there. But we think there should be more institutes that's going to help us to execute this strategy. I think we mentioned earlier also the National Tourism Commission. It's very important. We have a problem. When every government change, the policy changes. When some minister change, the policy changes, the priority changes. We need to ensure that this commission upholds the strategy and also helps us to integrate all of the goals that we want to achieve as a country. And the Tourism Development Council to ensure that it drives and coordinates all these bodies that are embedded in the structure. So these are not exclusively what National People's Power want to put in. It's about you, this is for debate. You can define the purpose of these institutes, you can exclude these institutes, you can tell us to expand the scope of these institutes because we are in a journey to develop a policy. So this is initial thinking. However, these institutions may not work without the support of the stakeholders. So whoever you are, everyone who is gathered here, part of either of these stakeholders. It can be provincial tourism development teams, it can be industry associations, it can be NGOs or INGOs, it can be foreign or local bodies that support tourism, or it can be universities that who will help us in research and development that can enhance tourism to the next level. And also the community and the people around us needs to be part of this whole structure. The second pillar is about the sustainable use of natural and cultural resources. We do know that we need to preserve them. But do we consider about the carrying capacity of Sigiriya? Do we consider about the carrying capacity of Yala? How do we switch between different locations but also give the same experience, and within the different eras or the time periods of the year, how do we ensure these locations are optimized but not overutilized? And in terms of a controversial topic of, using islands for tourism development. There has been a lot of debate around it. But what we need to understand is we can use our preserved islands in terms of our locality, and which will be a competitive advantage, but it needs to be under a good governance body. And it needs to ensure that the legal system works. It needs to ensure the environmental protectionism works. It needs to ensure the marine life or the biodiversity is not killed. So it's not just that you sell the land. It's just that you manage the land. And it's the duty of the government and the tourism whole industry to ensure it's not only used for profits, but it's also used for the sustainability of the country. The workforce development and the job security is one of the key areas, because the workforce whom we are having today are the workforce that's going to take us into higher values of tourism. So the job security to the people who are mostly in SME sector, and how do we ensure that these people are protected? We know some of the jobs contains a lot of variable income, and when the times are bad, that variable income goes. So how does those people survive? And in terms of skill development, we need to have a skill scorecard for the country, that we ensure these are the identified skills for the running of the industry. These are the identified skills for the new additions or the value additions that we want to do. The research component has to be very precise. We need support of the universities to research and tell us what are the fundamental skills that are missing, what are the language, the IT literacy that's required to build this industry, and also what are the vocational skills that we need to build. And also in terms of building this industry, we want to expand the horizons of ownership. The entrepreneurship has to come into play. The SME sector will play a pivotal role. The ability to create SME sector in the industry, it's also a skill development program. We need to create more and more small entrepreneurs and their skills. Making a global workforce. Currently we send out our people to low value and value added services. But then if we can train and skill people, we can ensure that we have a global workforce that generate more income than the tourism industry, but it's related to the workforce that we have. The innovative products and standardization. The products need to be innovated, invented, and we already have some products which are unique to Sri Lanka and which already will create a Sri Lankan signature or the national identity of Sri Lanka, which are authentic. But the reality is we need to standardize this. The standardization of these products will ensure that those products are the products that will go to the world. If you don't have standards, everybody will do differently in these different types of products. So may it be wellness space. How do you standardize wellness space and position Sri Lanka? May it be agri-tourism, that how do we have a lot of agriculture opportunities here? How do you get people to explore and experience agriculture? May it be our arts and crafts. How do you really position these products into the world and ensure that people come just for that? And the adventure experiences, we need standards, we need global safety standards to do these things, and then this becomes destinations for adventure. And when it comes to nightlife, people talk about, it's about the night activities. We need to ensure there's safe environment for music, safe environment for food, a safe environment for arts and culture and things to do in the night. So that is something that we should do, but it's not the whole purpose of the industry. When it comes to the calendar, national calendar has to be shared. We all as a country and population should get ready for the tourism calendar. If it's a priority industry, how do we align everything for the festival in Kandy? How do we align everything for the Colombo Fashion Week? How do we align everything for a gem and jewelry festival that we are going to have? It has to be a shared calendar, not only for tourism industry. And again, use of sustainable resources in terms of energy, and we can reduce the carbon footprint of our industry, which also can be a unique value proposition. We are one of the countries which can have sustainable energy resources. The water and the wind and the sun can ensure that there's a zero carbon footprint in tourism industry. The fifth pillar is about integrated digital strategies, where we have a lot of disintegrated digital content. And SMEs are small organizations trying their own to promote their hotels, but then there's no enough strategy to help the SMEs to compete in the market. And the use of the foreign mission for promotions, NPP is very keen that we will establish the right people and the right KPIs and the right job so that they have targets to promote our products outside the country. And the lastly, it's about the thinking behind what kind of mass marketing we would do to position Sri Lanka and what kind of target marketing we will do to position certain products that we will come up with. May it be free tourists or digital nomads or the history or based on history who wants to come, how do we target these positions? Because IT industry is an industry that you can do from anywhere. So if we can bring IT professionals to work 3 months, 4 months, 6 months here in Sri Lanka, that can be a very unique experience for them because the cost of living still is low compared to dollars earnings. Lastly, it's about the infrastructure. So from the carrier, the national carrier, where does it fly? It also matters, right? Sometimes we don't think the airline is connected to the tourism industry. So we need to ensure from that experience of travel to the how you received at the airport and the infrastructure that facilitates people to go about are secured and effective. And also the safety of the people in terms of you being able to get legal aid, get safety and feel secure about how the few days that you are going to spend in another country is something very important that we need to ensure as an ecosystem. And the environment in terms of community, we have a good community who greets and treats people, but we need to enhance it. We need to inculcate this in the school curriculum so that people are empathetic towards the tourists that we get. It's not like the Suddha that comes. We have to treat them equally. It's building a resilient economy, an economy that will sustain the shocks of the world. That is why we as National People's Power are very keen about the production economy. And also from the service perspective, the IT industry and the tourism industry is going to be the forefront of this game. And then we can build this together. We believe we can build this together. Few of us can't build this together. Few of us can't build, and only this team who's here in this audience cannot build this. We need to spread this, we need to be part of it. If you are part of the policy, and if we are not delivering, you should take us out. That's how it should work. It should be responsibility from leadership to the stakeholders to public. And that is the type of politics that we are talking about. So I would invite all of you to share your views, share your feedback about this framework. It's not something that's got closed in today, it's just that something we opened up, right? So you can go to menti.com, maybe now, maybe later, maybe in the evening, there's 7 days more, this link will be open. So you can use this QR code to send us the feedback. So dear friends who have gathered here, this is the framework we want to present to you. And I would open up this forum. I think we will open up this forum for question and answers. Thank you very much.